Hello and welcome to UC News. I'm Payton Marshall.
And I'm Connor Sweeney.
Tonight on UC News, investigative reporter Abby Dye tells us there could be more rapes on campus than UC is telling you.
And UC is home to many talented artists. We give you a preview of works and performances that you might see on campus.
Also, Reagan Yoakum gives us an update on Cincinnati sports.
So some students at the University of Cincinnati are reeling from the death of a student in a dorm. Police found John Calvin Shepper in his room at Daniels Hall after his roommate called 911 February 19th. Shepper was a first-year student and a graduate of Covington Catholic High School. The university is offering counseling to help students deal with the tragedy. The Hamilton County coroner says she doesn't suspect foul play, but can't say how he died till she gets back autopsy results.
A dorm on University of Cincinnati's campus is receiving attention due to an abrupt cut in their advising staff. What this means as far as residents and the backlash this decision received, Kennedy Metcalf has the story.
UC's Office of Resident Education and Development recently fired 9 residential advisors in Daniels Hall. They immediately had to resign due to accusations of underage drinking. While 2 of them appealed their termination, UC Housing fired 7 of the 9 RAs. The accused RAs were partying with students on campus. This act isn't allowed and was caught on camera by fellow students. Seth Corlett, a current RA in Daniels, explains the responsibilities of his job and the higher standard he is held to.
I mean, fundamentally, we are held to the exact same standards that any other resident of the building is. I'm also a mandatory reporter, so what a resident tells me is confidential in that it doesn't go out.
The shortage of staff left most residents without an RA for a month and a half.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by it.
Molly Henderson shares her thoughts on the decision of the abrupt termination.
I don't know if firing all of them was the right course of action. I feel like there should have been another way, maybe put them on probation or something, or maybe like something else, or like talk to them, or if they were going to fire, maybe go about it in a different way.
And UC Housing says they stand by their decision, saying they promote safety on campus and do not condone any misconduct from their employees in any way. Kennedy Metcalf, UC News.
UC students may be paying more for school starting in the fall. For the past 5 years, UC has been under a tuition freeze, which kept the cost of school from rising that time. Come fall, students could expect to pay $330 extra per semester for their education. UC shuttle buses are extending hours after the Student Senate passed a bill earlier this month. The shuttle will run through 11 o'clock from now on. Payton Marshall says students feel the change will make a big impact.
The street is super sketchy at night time. Like, you really do not want to walk down that street.
Mustafa Kuapuala is a freshman mechanical engineering major from London. He doesn't have a car on campus, so he relies on taking the UC shuttle multiple times a day.
It's like I've been stranded so many times at Langston where I need to get home, and there's no possible way that I could like walk back home all the way to CP Cincy at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I just either end up pulling an all-nighter or just staying at my friend's place, which isn't really the most convenient things.
He says he hears horror stories from his friends walking on campus at night and often sees homeless people smoking inside the lobbies of campus apartment buildings.
Safety at night is becoming more and more of an issue as stuff like that rises.
Sophomore student government member Gianna Vitali says later shuttle hours are only the first step.
Especially in this area, student safety has always been an issue, and so I think one of the main reasons why we passed the bill is because students walk alone at night no matter what.
Vitali says student government is trying to pass a bill to extend summer shuttle hours too. With Campus Watch leaving last semester, students have been concerned about their safety. Now, with the bus stop opening 2 hours later, they can get from point A to point B a little safer. Here for UC News, I'm Payton Marshall.
There may be more rapes on campus than the university is telling you. Find out why after the break. And winter is on its way out, but the flu is here to stay. Student government held their annual elections. Meet the new student leaders at UC. Next.
The University of Cincinnati says the number of rapes on campus has gone up in the past year. So you would think more students would be getting more safety alerts.
Abby Dye has been looking into this, and her investigation shows that's not happening. Abby?
It's exactly what I found, and the numbers are shocking. It took 3 weeks of digging and 3 records requests, but I found that the university is issuing alerts for less than half of the rapes reported on campus.
I don't remember any of it besides the sensation of his hands just gripping at my head so hard to hold my earbuds in so I wouldn't get up.
Roxanne Van Dam says she was raped during her sophomore year at UC inside a campus dorm, but continued to see her rapist on campus.
I see him all the time. He's so successful. He's in a fraternity and he has so many friends. It's just not fair.
As hard as that was for Van Dams, at least she could hope other students got a warning after a rape. Here's how it's supposed to work. A student reports a rape on campus. Then, students get an alert so they can watch out and protect themselves. For example, on April 16, 2017, one student reported to UC police that someone had raped her at the Stratford Heights Residence Hall on Clifton Avenue. But UC never issued a crime alert. They never notified students, parents, or faculty. That's even though federal law forces every university to let people know immediately about any crime that could pose a threat on campus. It wasn't the first time UC failed to notify students about a rape on campus. Our investigation shows it happens more often than not. UC's annual security report shows that between 2014 and 2017, 33 people reported rapes on campus, but in that same time period, UC issued only 7 crime alerts for rape. The numbers for reported rapes inside campus dorms are just as shocking. Records show 33 people reported rapes in dorms between 2014 and 2017. In that same time period, UC issued only 5 safety alerts for rapes in dorms. This is University Park Apartments, a UC dorm where in 2016, 4 students reported rapes. However, records show UC issued only 1 crime alert. Bethany White was a resident advisor at the University Park Apartments in 2016. She says that even she was unaware 4 people reported rapes at UPA that year.
I feel like UC community should have gotten a better idea of the statistics, and I don't think it was taken as seriously as it should have been, especially in the college campus.
In 2017, UC issued alerts for only 27% of rapes on campus. UC claims it is committed to creating a safe campus culture, but UC's failure to alert students about on-campus rapes suggests otherwise.
I don't care if UC is one of the hottest colleges in America. It's not hot that you don't even talk about this topic. They don't even want to talk about what sexual assault or rape is.
And Van Dams brings up a wonderful point there. This is a conversation that we have to continue to have on campus, but it's simply just not happening.
Yeah, that story is it's heartbreaking, but it's really cool that we have, people like you and this, what we do here to be able to tell that story for them.
It is. It's absolutely devastating. I think continuing this conversation is really the only way that we can start to make a change with this, is just to continue that.
The University of Cincinnati is left without a Title IX coordinator yet again. UC's former Title IX coordinator, Andrea Goldblum, left her office at the University of Cincinnati for good on March 15th. The Title IX coordinator is responsible for investigating complaints about sexual violence. The university spent more than 2 years without a Title IX coordinator before hiring Goldblum, who is leaving the position after only 10 months. Vice President for Equity, Bluzette Marshall, says the university is looking to fill the position as soon as possible.
The Linder College of Business named Mary Ann Lewis its first female dean in March. Before accepting the position, Lewis was the dean of the Cass Business School in London. She previously worked at UC for 20 years. She will begin her term as dean July 1st.
UC has a new student leader after this year's student government elections. The election was historic because it was the first time the president and the vice president ran unopposed. Chandler Rankin will be the first president and Abby Smith will be the vice president for the 2019-2020 academic year. The two are looking forward to leaving their mark on the university.
We say so long to winter and welcome spring. Local health officials remind us of one seasonal transition not to leave behind: tradition, the flu shot.
School is in session, people are traveling, plants are blossoming, and it looks like this year's flu season is still lurking behind the scenes. The 2018-2019 flu virus got off to a fast start this winter, and some health professionals like Sainese Taylor Huffman say the virus is withstanding seasonal change.
We've seen flu cases as late as the end of April, and I think we will this year too. We actually have 3 right now.
The Center for Disease Control said this year's flu virus saw an astounding 36 million cases, but resulted in less deaths.
Last year there was 230,000 cases of hospitalized flu patients and 36,000 deaths. So it is huge.
Huff and the CDC say this year's flu shot outperformed the vaccine from last year's tough flu season by targeting different strands more efficiently.
Last year's vaccine covered strands we thought would be bad, and we actually had different strands. So the vaccine maybe wasn't as accurate. This year we feel like the vaccine has been more accurate, and again, it's just one way to prevent it.
Huff says we're past the worst of this year's flu season, but she does say that the elderly and children are still at high risk as spring blooms.
Children and the elderly are still at risk of getting sick. Did you get your flu shots?
I didn't. I'm one of the few people who hadn't, but we have the 1819 Innovation Hub, and it sounds like they're looking to make a flu test for people to get at a drugstore, so maybe this could help the issue.
Yeah, it definitely could, and I have mine, so it's your issue now.
It is my issue. It's for people like me who have been lazy about getting their shots.
Okay, so did you hear this? If you have a parking pass for a garage on campus, you might not have access to your designated spot during FC matches. Out of the 13 garages on campus, 9 will be used for FC parking. The director of parking services at UC says students with parking passes can park in their garage unless a garage fills up. Then parking services will reroute students to other facilities so FC ticket holders can take their spots.
Oh, no. Oh, no. With as much as we pay for parking, they should be refunding us for the money that we're paying. I mean, it's outrageous.
I agree.
And they get to take it just for a game? I don't know if I agree with this. I actually just got an email yesterday about it. Did you get it in your school email?
No, I don't check it.
You don't check it? Well, well, I'll have to inform him later. But to continue on the FC soccer, Cincinnati has its first Major League Soccer team. See if FC Cincinnati can play with the pros coming up next.
And there's one sport that's seriously been underfunded on campus. Reagan Yoakum talks with some of the athletes affected by it.
And it's officially baseball season. We'll show you why this year's opening day was special.
I was thinking about it during the break, and I'm not sure if I like the idea that parking passes are going to be given to FC people. I think that it brings a lot of people into, Clifton. I think it's a good business. I like it. It brings the community up.
Well, I may not be in agreement with Connor, but I am an FC Cincinnati fan. Tell me how's the team doing so far?
Yes, Payton, they've had an amazing season. Have you guys made it out yet?
I haven't.
One game, yes.
Okay. Well, you need to make it out some more.
I think I'm just bitter about that parking.
Yes, I am too, Payton. Yes, FC Cincinnati fans and players are celebrating their first MLS home game with a victory. The Orange and Blue played Portland Timbers on Saturday. Kendall Watson scored the first goal in 15 minutes. 2 back-to-back goals in the second half led to a 3-0 victory against the Timbers. FC fans are looking forward to more success in the team's first MLS season. The UC women's basketball team is having an amazing season, and much of the credit goes to their new coach. UC hired Michelle Clark-Hurd right before the 2018 season, and she has had remarkable success. She led the Bearcats to 24 wins this season in an NCAA tournament bid. This puts the team in the history books with consecutive postseason wins and the program's highest season finish in the American Athletic Conference. You can catch the Bearcats Thursday in the Sweet 16 round on the tournament playing Butler University. UC has had a lot of different sports programs, and one of them is dance. But now the Tapas program is under fire. Some of the members tell me that the program hasn't delivered on what it has promised.
Brown is a senior at UC preparing to graduate this spring. With graduation comes job preparation and the stress of applying for jobs. UC College Conservatory of Music promised Brown before she came that they would set her up well for her future. Now Brown and other students say that still hasn't happened 4 years later.
They made it seem like they were going to do everything they could to set us up with a company, and that has just not been happening. And if anything, it's, they're doing things detrimental to us finding a job.
Lydia Hubacher is also in her last semester at UC. Hubacher says that she feels cheated because her non-dance major peers are receiving job offers because they are better funded. Majors such as musical theater and acting are given showcases and better reels to sell themselves.
The percentage of dance majors who graduate without a job is really high, and it's really sad because we don't have that sort of thing.
Both Brown and Hubacher say that the Tapas program is very underfunded and can be blamed for a lot in their major. The dance program is currently looking for a new director of dance. No word on when they will have a replacement.
What started as a childhood hobby for Sarah Kramer and her friends has now flourished into a club at the University of Cincinnati. In the fall of 2016, Kramer left her home team, the Comet Skippers, to go to college.
Life was hard, without jump rope.
Kramer and other jumpers found more people to create the Jump Rope Club to promote fitness, creativity through fitness, and community. Kramer and friends now have traveled the world competing and teaching the universal language of the sport.
That's one of the coolest things that jump rope has taught me, is how to communicate through love and through learning how your body language can communicate sometimes even more than words, and how to teach beyond the language barrier.
You can catch Kramer and UC Jump Rope performing at UC basketball games, charity events, and much more. This year's opening day is one that will go down in the history books. As the sun rose over Great American Ballpark, the groundskeepers prepared the field for the 150th year of professional baseball. The Reds were the first pro team established in 1869. Not only is the season a landmark year, but this year's opening day is the earliest one ever, March 28th. This year, they opened the season with 5-3 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's also a historic year for the Cincinnati tradition. The Finley Market Parade celebrated its 100th year. Guys, did you make it down to the parade this year?
I did. I absolutely loved seeing.
Sadly, I didn't.
Of course, Connor didn't. Did you see the old uniforms, the original ones?
Yes,
yes.
Oh
my goodness.
I knew you'd love those, Payton.
So the Reds were the first major league team?
Yes, Los
so
Rojos.
Who did they play then? If
you
you're
know,
the first major league, who else do you play?
Connor, but I'm not sure.
That's pretty cool, though. I didn't know that.
I don't know if we have time to get into the entire history of the Reds. That's for another day. But to continue on, CCM is trying to make it easier so that other people can see their performances. What they are working on is coming up next.
Some actors have come a long way since their first class. A sneak peek at their freshman showcase after the break. Streaming services like Netflix are the new way to view content, so CCM is taking the next step, going live. CCM has hundreds of shows every year: musicals, faculty jazz, orchestras, choirs, and many more. Colin McGeorge plays a key role in bringing live streaming to the university.
There are these events happening constantly, and in order to get more people out, having a big presence on the web is very important.
The university has a very diverse student body with a lot of international students. Live streaming will help parents overseas or across the country see the growth and exposure their children are getting.
It gives them the opportunity to see their son or daughter perform live, which is pretty unique, especially when you're halfway across the world.
The variety and professionalism we see in our theaters from our students and faculty will be viewable from anywhere with an internet connection.
Some Cincinnati bands have more fans after a UC group invited them to play a concert. Bearcast Media held their 5th annual music festival live on Short Vine, and it was a big deal. The 2-day festival had performances from local artists from all over Cincinnati, including several UC students. The artists played at restaurants and bars on Short Vine, making it a party all across the block.
University of Cincinnati freshman musical theater students are just starting to find themselves through their craft. Only a year in, these young actors have learned a lot. Anna Chase says the class is displaying how far they've come in their showcase, Lost and Found.
And that was a big thing that my class wanted to emphasize, that we all get to showcase what we do best, each of us as individuals and as a team.
The team makes sure all of their best keeps getting better. Leo Carmody says they wrote their own monologues and choreographed the entire show.
We prepare a lot. We have the class 3 times a week, which we rehearse then, but we have to do a lot of outside rehearsals on our own. So there have been a couple like midnight rehearsals that we've had to call just because other people are in different shows and they can't make it. So the preparation is a lot.
With song and dance, these freshmen showed us that you have to be lost to be found.
The UC Programs and Activities Council hosted its annual Uptown West Fest in the brand new Fifth Third Arena. A$AP Ferg performed and Lost Kings were supposed to headline the show this year. However, the crowd got rowdy and started throwing chairs. Security had no choice but to shut down the event. Lost Kings complained about the poorly planned event and moved their set to Top Cats to make up for their fans.
Culture on Campus, how some students are celebrating their heritage.
And a UC student makes history at the Oscars. Find out how coming up next. The University African Student Association celebrated its annual culture show, and the crowd was electric. Ghanaian entertainment icon Ibe Kobe hosted the evening. The event showcased performances from UC students representing every African country. And the attendees didn't disappoint either. Students showed up dressed to impress with variations of African garbs incorporated in each look. The night even ended with a small fashion show showing off some of the best looks. It was definitely a night to remember.
The 2019 DAP Fashion Show is officially scheduled for May 3rd. Titled Next, the show is taking flight in a brand new environment. Models will walk the runway in the Waypoint Aviation Hangar at Lunken Airport. For more information, go to dap.uc.edu.
Former DAP student Hannah Beechler is the first African American to win an Oscar for Best Production and Design. Beechler won her Oscar at the 2019 Academy Awards for her design in the Marvel hit movie Black Panther. During her emotional acceptance speech, Beechler offered words of wisdom to those watching.
I give the strength to all of those who come next to keep going, to never give up. And when you think it's impossible, just remember to say this piece of advice I got from a very wise woman. I did my best, and my best is good enough.
And her best has now put her in the history books. Black Panther is coming up next on Netflix on September 4th, where you can catch all of Beechler's amazing work.
That's awesome.
It is, and it's so cool because she went to DAP. She went here.
I know, it's awesome. And what a good movie, you know? She deserved the Oscar.
She deserved, she
really
totally did.
One of my favorite movies of the year, by far.
Definitely. Well, to end on that good note, that is it for UC News. I'm Payton Marshall.
And I'm Connor Sweeney. Thanks.